Jim Stute is a farmer, member of the Watershed Protection Committee of Racine County and an independent research agronomist. Jim spent the last 30 years working to increase cover crop use, and he's going to tell us more about that today. Hi, Jim.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity. So before we peek under the covers, I want to cover just a couple of little things. First is I'd like to acknowledge the funders for this work. So this isn't a standalone project. I'm going to be talking about a series of measurements that we superimpose over existing research projects. So our funders for that listed down in the bottom right: Wisconsin NRCS, the North Central Region SARE program, who's funding this work through 2 different grant programs. And if I had time, I would have put the Wisconsin Department of Agriculture up there. I just got word 10 minutes ago that we have another project that's funded, so add them to the funding source. And then indirectly, the Wisconsin chapter of the Nature Conservancy, who indirectly funds us through labor from a summer intern, an agricultural intern, who is partially assigned to our watershed group, which I'll talk about in a minute. So the second thing I want to do is more editorial in nature, and it relates to these contrasting photos here. So that's a picture on my farm, proud member of the Watershed Protection Committee of Racine County. The photographs were taken at the same time of year, same field, same everything, taken 2 weeks in advance of speaking here at the summit. And what it shows is 2 contrasting growing seasons, real winter and this winter here. And what I want to say about this is, if ever there was a winter when we need green living cover on the landscape, this is it. February, tornadic storms, severe rainfall events, and I'm happy to report that the living green cover is protecting our soil and preventing non-point runoff very well. The third thing I'd like to do is reacquaint you with our group, the Watershed Protection Committee of Racine County. Now, I know we presented here in the past. Some of you may have not seen our presentation. So we are one of 47 or 49 current producer-led groups in the state of Wisconsin. So here's the official map from DATCAP with the current number of groups and our locations. You can see the distribution around the state. So here we are down in southeast Wisconsin. This map misunderestimates our impact. So we are truly concentrated in the Fox River Basin, but our impact is broader. So we cover the entirety of Racine County. We'll go down into Kenosha County, up into Milwaukee County, and then over into Walworth County. So we are one of the older and more active groups in the state of Wisconsin. We officially formed in 2018. That's when we got our first grant from the Wisconsin Department of Agriculture to support our effort. We are a nonprofit. We have 501c3 status for your charitable giving needs. We have 21 active members, and we represent 6 counties with our membership, and one of those is in McHenry County, Illinois. So for you Illinois folks, we've got membership down there. We combined have a little over 15,000 acres, which are under conservation, and it's not one single practice. It's a suite of practices that protect our agricultural land or cropland and prevent non-point pollution. And there's a link to our website if you want to learn more about us. So our activities, we do a lot, but we can break our activities down into 3 different categories. The first is outreach. So we have periodic shop meetings where we get together and we talk things over, talk about practices, what works, what doesn't on our farms. We share publicly that information, as well as bring in guest speakers at our winter workshop, as well as at our summer field day. And we also do ad hoc outreach events like the one we're at today. We've got a booth over there. We invite you to come and visit us at lunchtime. And we also, at 12:30, right up here at the front table, we are going to do a demonstration which shows the value of regenerative agriculture on soil health and preventing non-point pollution. The second thing we do is we offer cost share programs to supplement what are done by the agencies. In 2023, we gave out nearly $20,000 in cost share money to support practices, primarily cover cropping. And so we covered a little over 500 acres. This is actually a miscalculation on my part. We cost share at 50%, so it's over 1,000 acres that we actually cost share to. And the number, the 20,000 compared to what the agencies do, that's a small amount, but recognize please that this is 2/3 of our operating budget from a grant from DACAP, so it's a major undertaking on our part. And we also participate and conduct our own research, and that's a little bit more what I'm going to be talking about later. So here's some pictures of our activity at the top. You see our outreach activities, our winter workshop on the left, summer field day on one of our member farms, and then on the right-hand side is a more recent format at our site at Keys-Eagle Park in Rochester. At the very center is the heart of what we do. This is a soil pit with our soil wizards, Dr. Jamie Patton and Michelle Probst, who are discussing all aspects of soil health, a whole lot of entertainment with some education mixed in. And what it really gets at is how our management impacts the soil resource. The other photographs show some of our research work. So on the bottom left here, it shows a harvest of an on-farm strip trial, which is evaluating the yield impact of cover crops on the income producing crop. At the far right is our long-term comparison of regenerative and conventional systems at Keys-Eagle Park, done in partnership with the County of Racine. And then the inset photo is one of our Nature Conservancy interns working on some instrumentation there. We are, in that comparison, going to be reaching a milestone this fall with the harvest of our third crop during the transition from our transition to a mature regenerative system, and we would be more than happy to be invited back to report not only our data, but also the lesson learned from that process. And so that'll be taking place next year. So all this work, we do not work in a vacuum. We do not work just locally, and that's the nature of the producer-led movement in general. So if you look back at the top picture here, you see our benevolent leader, Tom Griles, speaking with the microphone there. The two gentlemen with their backs turned to us are the chairs of the Dodge County and the Jefferson County group. They come to our meetings, we go to their meetings, and the result is there's a lot of cross-pollination. Farmer to farmer learning and information sharing. The result of that is we have inspiration and we have innovation. And the ultimate result of that is that we have a rapid increase in the number of conservation and the really innovative conservation practices that are put on place in the landscape. The problem is there's a lag with the support systems from the adoption to help us with this. And they take two forms. The decision aid, so like nutrient management and fertility recommendations, for example, from University of Wisconsin Extension. So the top picture on the right there is a relatively new practice, planting a diverse cover crop mix after winter wheat. This absolutely blows the cover crop systems that I worked with in the 90s and the early 2000s out of the water as far as carbon capture, productivity, and it influences the nitrogen dynamics of the system. And Extension hasn't been able to keep pace with that. The Dodge County Farmer Group, in conjunction with UW Extension, is currently looking at the impact on nitrogen recommendations. The lower right picture is the practice of planting green. I talked about that a little bit here last year. Instead of terminating the cover crop, we plant into it while it's living and then terminate it based on our own farm objectives and what the weather's doing. If it's turning dry, terminate earlier. Here, the decision aids and the regulation have not kept pace with that. And so that's what I'm here really to talk to you about today. This thing is really edgy. You probably, Ben, can you come up here and push the buttons for me while I talk? I think the back one.
Back, yeah.
Okay, go ahead, one.
What?
Oh, I missed one. So let's talk about nutrient management. So in the state of Wisconsin, we use the SNAP Plus nutrient management planning program for both certified nutrient management planning and to evaluate conservation compliance as a component of nutrient management planning. But also it is allowed to be used under DNR rules for water quality trade. So there's some problems with this program, and it's the fact that it can't keep pace with this adoption. And primarily there's two of them. We only have two cover crop options for the corn soybean rotation, which is a dominant cropping system here in southeast Wisconsin. And the other thing, and this is huge as it relates to planting green, is that we assume that cover crop is terminated and planted. And there's a whole lot of growth that goes on if you plant green beyond the planting period. And that feeds back on conservation. So for non-farmers, here's what you need to know about conservation. It's all about covering the soil with biomass, so the plant material protecting the soil. And so SNAP Plus falls apart here. And this picture illustrates the difference between the plant ground system, this is what SNAP Plus wants to see, and the plant green system. I'll show you some pictures of the evolution of crop development in a little bit. Next slide, please. So the point is that in SNAP Plus, the way it is now, it underestimates the reduction in non-point runoff from the use of cover crops. In the case of certified nutrient management plans, especially if you're in no-till where your runoff is minimized, that's probably not a problem. So what the screenshot here from SNAP Plus shows is, this is from my certified nutrient management plan on my farm, the 2024 growing season. So I'm growing corn, with a cover crop, everything is no-till. So this is a look back analysis, and this is the meat or the heart of the SNAP Plus program, conservation compliance. So this is a 3-year look back over my rotation. What this says, it compares my rotation over that time to this value here, the tolerable soil loss. On this particular soil type, I can lose 3 tons of soil per year, and I'm okay because I'm forming 3 tons of soil through natural processes. I hate the term tolerable. No soil loss is tolerable in my opinion. So I look at this, I am well below T, so 0.4 tons per acre per year on this particular area. If I extrapolate, that's way too high, in my opinion, and I know what's not going on. If I extrapolate this to my whole farm, my whole farm, that's the equivalent of almost 5 dump trucks of soil that are potentially leaving the farm. I intuitively know that's not happening. I observationally know that's not happening. I'm okay for the nutrient management plan. But what if I was in water quality trade? It would be underestimating if I was trading on sediment or if I was trading on phosphorus, it would underestimate the value of the conservation. That's a problem. The people that work with SNAP Plus, the development team, recognize this as well as some other problems. So they are totally revamping SNAP Plus with version 3. There's going to be more cover options, and also we can tweak it based on our specific management of the cover crop. Next slide, please. So what they need is calibration data. So that's what I'm talking about. So now let's peek under the covers. So this is all this work is confined to cereal rye and mostly the practice of planting green. We need to collect the above ground biomass, measure how much dry matter is up there protecting the soil surface. Related to that are estimates of canopy and also the crop height. And here are 3 benchmarks that we need to keep in mind, and this is going to show up on a later slide. So the far left is at planting time. The middle is at soybean emergence. You can see right, or maybe you can't, but there's soybeans that are emerging here. And then here on the right is rye at pollination time and thesis. We have maximized, at this point in the growing season, we have maximized the amount of dry matter production. Next slide, please. So leaking under the covers sounds like really sexy science, but it's not. It's a lot of heat. So the first measurement is above ground biomass. So we take this from a known area, and all we do is remove the green material. So it shows a quadrant there. We use a quadrant with the broadcast seed, or we sample a known length of the cover crop rows if it's established with the grain drill. Early in the season, very difficult because you have to remove all the crop residue that's there to get all the green material. Tedious. That's why I do it. My helpers, they're the ones that do the fun stuff, which I'm going to show in a minute. So here's a picture of sampling, cleaning away the residue, and this is what it looks like with the residue cleaned away. And you can see a little stump there, and here we've got some more. Next slide, please. So that gets equated to pounds of dry matter per acre. Here's the fun part, the canopy. So we express the canopy as percent living green cover, and we use a proprietary app called, I don't know how to pronounce it. Nobody at the University of Wisconsin knows how to pronounce it. Either canopy or canopy. So anyway, this is an app designed for this particular purpose by Texas A&M University. And what we use it as photography, and you can do it on your phone or you can do it on a tablet. So you take a picture from a predetermined known height. If you're satisfied with the picture, you hit the process button. When I say satisfied with the picture, that means your feet are in it. That's another reason why I take biomass samples. I want someone smarter than me take the actual picture. You hit the process, and what it does is convert the pixelation. So anything that's green, it converts it to white. Anything that's not green, it converts it to black. You can see two images here, and then it calculates percentage based on the ratio of the two of them. So here's some fun. These two photographs, I did this on Valentine's Day of this year. So I spent Valentine's Day with my loved ones, my wife's cover crop. Soil cover, 5%. For fun, I did it last night. 15%. So I gained 10% soil cover here in the dead of the Wisconsin winter. And we aren't even in the period of rapid fire growth. Next picture, please. So this is what the residue looks like after the crops fall down. And this is why the residue is so important and how it works in preventing erosion. So this is a termination date study, and you can see we still have some green rye that's out there waiting to be terminated. But we can see the huge differences by delaying termination, how much terminating, how much growth is on the top. Next slide, and I will quickly figure stop. We're doing this all over. We've got 90 site years in Southeast, 90 site years of replicated data in Southeast Wisconsin, and thank you.
Thanks, Jim. Lots of good info, so catch up with Jim afterwards.